Hello class, welcome to week 3. We have quickly approached week 3 of the course. During this week, we're going to focus on a bit of the tort law, which would include your intentional and unintentional torts, along with, we'll take a look at the patents, trademarks, copyright, negligence, and trade secrets. But I want to go with you to the assignments that are due during week 3. In week 3, you have 2 assignments. You have an assessment that's due on the 18th, as well as the final project part 2. So you want to make sure you plan ahead, because this will be a busy week for you with the 2 assignments you have due. I want you to go ahead and make sure you take a look at the readings for the week. The readings will help you with your assignments, as well as the supplemental resources that are provided for you. You'll see here that the supplemental resources provided are linked directly to the assignments that are due this week. This week, one of the assignments is asking that you prepare an inter-office memo. So go ahead and take a look at that and make sure that you understand how to do an inter-office memo. And along with that inter-office memo, you're also required to submit a PowerPoint presentation. And there's some important things that you will want to consider when preparing a PowerPoint presentation, but we can discuss that further. Let's take a brief look at the week 3 assessment. The week 3 assessment is focused mainly on negligence. Now, when we talk about tort law, you'll recognize from your readings that tort law seeks to provide reimbursement to persons in society who may have suffered a loss because of some maybe a dangerous or unreasonable conduct of others. So torts may either, as I said before, negligent, they may be intentional, or you may even have strict liability torts. So the word tort means wrong, and originally it evolved from the writs of trespass and trespass on the case. Now you'll find that each act will involve an actor, or what we would call in the legal world a tortfeasor. So that's the person that directly causes the injury to the victim, one of the many drawbacks to the writ system. So tort law, in essence, establishes the standards of conduct for members of society. So it defines as civil wrongs the certain things that are associated with it, with the behaviors. So intentional interference with one person. It could be the person, it could be the reputation, or it could be property. And those are referred to as your intentional torts. Then you have your failure to exercise reasonable care. And this is referred to as your negligence part of the torts. And the third is, in some circumstances, there may be liability but without fault. And this is what we refer to as strict liability. So then in a nutshell, then you'll see that tort law is a method by which an injured person can attempt to shift the cost of harm to another person. So one example of tort law could be an automobile accident. So we'll refer to this as negligence. So failure to exercise reasonable care. So you are injured, you've in the accident, you've gotten some injuries, and you have to spend money to make sure that you adequately recover and get the medical care. You need to get your car repaired. So negligence or tort law would say that you are not going to carry the cost of that harm that was done to you by the other person. So because the plaintiffs in the tort, which would be you, the plaintiff, are usually seeking money damages, tort actions are not settled prior to trial. They are generally tried by juries. But then understand though that in some cases, particularly automobile accidents, you'll find that the majority of them are settled out of court. So many courts believe, in fact, that the constitutional right to trial by jury is part of tort law, and it is inappropriate, if not unconstitutional, to hamstring a jury in its determination of the amount of potential award to the client. So then let's go back to this assignment. This is a negligence case, as you will see. So for the negligence case, you'll want to remember that negligence is the unintentional failure to live up to the community's ideal of reasonable care. So it is what a reasonable person would expect. It has nothing to do with moral care. So an individual who have behaved negligently is one who has not lived up to the certain imputed duty or obligation to conform to a certain standard of conduct for the protection of others, to avoid unreasonably harming them. So when you're thinking about negligence, in any negligence case, there are 4 elements. There is a duty or standard of care that's recognized by the law. The second is a breach of that duty of care or failure to exercise reasonable care. The third is causation resulting from the said breach, and then because it results in some harm. So in order for you to establish negligence, these 4 elements must be present: duty of care, breach of that duty, causation, and harm. If any of those elements are missing, then it is not negligence. So as you look at your Unit 3 assessment, remember you have to discuss the 4 elements of negligence: duty of care, breach of that duty, causation, and the resulting harm to the plaintiff. So as you're going to go through the Brennan case, and you're going to start by looking to see what was the duty of care owed. Then you're going to look and see, was that duty breached? And if it was breached, why was it breached? What caused it? And then was there harm or injury to the plaintiff? If you can establish that as you go through these 3 bullet points here for this case, then you'll know there's negligence. So that will be your conclusion. If you cannot establish that, then you know there isn't negligence. Now, understand that this is a 3-part assignment. So you want to address each part. So the first one says, based on the scenario, can Brennan be held liable for negligence? Why or why not? You're going to go through the 4 elements of negligence, identify each of them, discuss them based on the facts for the Brennan case, and then say why or why not. And your why or why not will depend on whether an element was missing properly. Then the next thing you're going to address is, in the situation above, if Michael falls but is not injured, could Brennan be held liable for negligence? So what did we say? If any element of negligence is missing, what happens? Then there is no. So you want to make sure you go through the elements of negligence again and discuss them, and then tell us why. Now you're going to go to the third one. In the situation above, if Michael falls and is injured, but it is found that he ran into the store in his bare feet, what defense could the store claim if they were sued? Or what partial defense? So you want to take a look at those defenses to negligence. You would see that I would have posted a template for the Unit 3 assessment. So you're going to go look for that template. Here it is, Unit 3 assessment template. And this is a document you can use to help you go through and submit this assignment. Now let's take a look now again at the second assignment that we have due for week 3. Now this is part of your portfolio project, for portfolio project part 2. And for this project, there is also a template. You'll see that template here. And you'll also see that template on the announcement page. The directions for the project are listed here. And again, you'll find them in this section. So you are going to write a memo. You are going to look at the information posted to the class on the tips and guidelines on how to do a memo. The template has already been set up in memo format, so you can go ahead and use that. Now, you are also going to do a PowerPoint presentation. Now, bear in mind that if I were you, I would use the lecture notes as my guide and have an idea of how the PowerPoint presentation should look like. But here is what you should think of as you're doing it. Let's look at the memo. Your memo should be 4 to 5 pages in length. You should include a minimum of 4 credible scholarly sources. Your memo should have headings that correspond with the headings of each of your PowerPoints. Because remember, your PowerPoint will be your bullet, and your memo will be exactly what you will be saying in the presentation based on that PowerPoint. Now remember that you're not going to write the entire thing on the PowerPoint. You are just writing bulleted notes, and the memo will be used to document what you're going to say in its entirety. Remember that for the PowerPoint presentation, you're going to have 8 to 10 slides. Use a single background color. Don't use multiple colors throughout. And each slide should be designed to be concise. Make sure it's not cluttered, it's readable, and do not put too many information on a single slide. Generally, there's no more than 6 words in a line and no more than 6 lines on a slide. So you want to make sure you follow those guidelines. Here if you go to your supplemental or your student resources, the week 3 materials, you'll see information on how to format an internal inter-office memo. You'll see inter-office memo templates. You'll see information on how to prepare effective PowerPoint presentations, some guidelines, and there are 2 presentations on that, the effective use of PowerPoint. So make sure that you are using the resources provided to you in the classroom so that you're successful. So going back to the week 3 folder again, just so we are clear, in the week 3, you have your assessment. This is worth 30 points. There is a template provided for the assessment. You have final project part 2. This is also due on the 18th. This is worth 100 points, and there is a template. If you go to the announcement page, you will see the template for the assessment here that was posted on Monday, November 12th. And here you will see the template for the portfolio project part 2. Here are some tips and guidelines also posted on Monday, November 12th, of what is expected of you for the assignment, how to format your memo, how to format your PowerPoint presentation, along with some links to some important information to help you prepare effective PowerPoint presentations and the inter-office memo. If you have any questions about the week 3 assignments, feel free to give me a call or you may send me an email. I look forward to reading your work in week 3. You've been doing fantastic work so far, and continue, keep up the good work. Give me a call if you have any questions.